JPMorgan Chase Chairman and CEO Jamie Dimon sat down with Maria during the 2025 Reagan National Economic Forum last week. Watch.
Thank you so much. I'm at the Reagan National Economic Forum, and I'm sitting with Jamie Dimon, Chairman and CEO of JPMorgan Chase. Jamie, thank you for sitting with us.
Maria, thrilled to be here.
I know we have limited time. I want to get right into it and first get your thoughts about this big, beautiful bill underway in the Senate, where you've got some pushback from some senators about spending cuts not being enough. What do you think they need to do?
Yeah, so I think, first of all, I'm thrilled they got it through, and I think Michael Johnson did an unbelievable job doing that. I think the Senate, I think they should finish it. I think increasing consistency, keeping the tax rates going that allow business to invest, small business to large business, is really important for growth and et cetera. And if you go back to the bill in 2017, it brought back trillions of dollars to the United States. It created a lot of jobs. It created a lot of growth. And people, when they look at those numbers, they don't accurately say what those are. So it will work. Then they should go back and worry about cutting, literally looking at, and I shouldn't say cutting, making things more efficient around, Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security. It could be done, but I think they're better off just getting this thing finished as best they can. The smaller the deficit is, the better.
Are you, as a business person running the largest bank, counting on that, the extension of those tax cuts?
Not so much JPMorgan, but I think if you talk to small businesses who they don't know if the rate's going to be like 28% or 40%, they need it. If you talk to a lot of companies who do a lot of R&D or a lot of equipment expensing, they need the certainty. And what you really don't want them to do is just waiting to find out what's going to happen before they make investments in new plants and equipment, et cetera. And you've seen a little bit of that, so the sooner the better.
How much are you focused on debt and deficits right now?
It's a big deal. It is a real problem, but one day we're going to have the bond market's going to have a tough time. I don't know if it's 6 months or 6 years. So I think we have to focus on it. But when you say focus on it, the real focus should be growth, pro-business, proper deregulation, permitting reform, getting rid of blue tape, getting skills in schools, get that growth going. That's the best way. And then reform some of these programs. Everyone knows can be reformed properly. And I think some of the reform can take place. We're not taking benefits out of poor people or sick people or old people. You're just putting rules in place that make it more reasonable, less fraud, less waste, less abuse. So I think all those things need to be done. And then we can conquer that problem.
We've already seen a reaction in the bond market. Rates have been spiking. When you say something will happen in the bond market, what do you mean bond market will crack? What does that mean?
But the public has to understand is that something like $30 trillion of securities trades every day. These are investors around the world. Foreigners own $35 trillion of American securities. They have another $30 trillion of private investments in the United States or something like that in the United States. People vote with their feet. And they're going to be looking at the country, the rule of law, the inflation rates, the central bank policies, what they want to hedge and what they don't want to hedge. And so those rates aren't set by central banks. They can affect them. They can twist them. They can do things to make you feel more comfortable, which they should do. But, if people decide that the U.S. dollar isn't the place to be, yeah, you could see, spreads gap out, credit spreads gap out, and that will become a problem. We had that during COVID. The Fed properly stepped in then. We had that in 2019. We had it in 20. It will happen again. It's just, I can almost guarantee you that. I just don't know exactly when or what the trigger might be.
What kind of...
And the important thing about that is it's not, for JPMorgan itself, it doesn't affect us that much. When you have these volatility in the markets, we trade, we're good at it, we finance companies. It hurts the people raising money, and that includes small businesses. That includes loans to small businesses, it includes high yield debt, it includes leveraged lending, it includes real estate loans. That's why you should worry about volatility in the bond markets, not because you should worry about the big banks.
What kind of growth are you looking for second half of the year?
Oh, God. I think our economists have it at like 1.5 or something like that, but I would rely on them. I don't know. I think there's so many moving parts. I just don't know how to look at something like that.
I mean, Kevin Hassett was on this show the other day, and he said he would not be surprised to see 4% growth in the second half of the year.
I disagree with Kevin.
You disagree? I mean,
I hope he's right. I just don't know.
Speaking of growth, look at the growth at JPM. The other day, the investor day, you had all your shareholders happy with the goals that you set out and your most recent quarter. What do you make, like $1 billion a week?
Close, yeah. but remember, but all that stuff we do has been investing. It's been taking place for 15 years.
That's earnings.
New branches, new bankers, new technologies, serving clients, we serve our multinational, U.S. all around the world, and that's how you build a company. And then we, provide services, payments, and market making, and we raise capital. I think in total, like $2.5 trillion a year and that includes governments, cities, states, hospitals, schools, large corporations, small businesses, and that's our job. Profits themselves bounce around for a whole bunch of different reasons, but we like doing it, and we're quite comfortable that we can grow our company.
You've also
and we've got real competition by it. So I don't sit here, being complacent. We have the other major, investment banks and commercial banks, but we have, the fintech folks. We've got foreigners, some who are doing a very good job. So I always look at the ones who are doing better than us and why. I don't just focus on, how well we're doing.
Who's doing better than you?
Stripe has built a great business in payments. We could have done some of that. PayPal's done stuff. There's some, we have a Chase UK, we have a digital-only bank, but you've seen Revolut's done a very good job building a real digital bank, but not just one country, but pan-European, and they're coming here. So a lot of people. I remember 10 years ago or 15 years ago sending a bunch of people on our airplanes from consumer retail to China, and they said, "Why are we going to China? We're a U.S. bank." I said, "You'll find out when you get there." When we set them up with Ping An and Tencent and Alipay and Alibaba, and it opens up your eyes. People around the world are doing really interesting stuff. And you can debate what stable coins might do on data banking. And so we're always looking at that competition of all different sorts.
What is the impact of the stablecoin legislation on the banks, on JPM?
I think we are going, first of all, we have a JPMorgan coin. I think that crypto, if you mean stablecoin, moving data, real-time payments, doing data and payments together, that stuff is real. We're going to be at the forefront of that. The JPMorgan coin today can move money and data, but as a deposit at JPMorgan. And so it's used internally. We're going to externalize it at one point. My view is we should be in that. I think the other question is, what's the laws around it, AML, BSA, KYC for other people? What's the access to the Fed? What are the rules of the Fed? The Fed may do it itself, to move money internationally. That's all reasonable. Remember, we already move $10 trillion a day, and it's digital. And we already move some of it real time. And so a lot of this, we're already building the technologies to do a better job for the client.
So why do we need digital assets?
Well, it depends what you mean by digital asset. It could be a very effective way to move money through the correspondent banking system, where everyone in that system can see where the money is, what it's for, where it is, all at the same time. So there are going to be some very good uses for blockchain.
You spend what, $20 billion on technology? You're spending more on technology than NASA.
Really?
Is that not right?
I don't know. I didn't know that.
Tell us about your allocation of money on technology and what your goals are.
It is about close to $20 trillion, and that's every business. But when we look at it, so first of all, it's the big stuff that we do at the corporation. That's networks, the big data centers, certain policies, things like that. But then there's stuff, and some AI policy. We spend billions of dollars in AI already, $1 billion in cyber to protect our clients. But then we do it at the business level. If you're in small business, what are you doing with data to do a better job for your client? That could be for technology. That could be better online account opening. It could be wealth management. It could be better fraud services. It could be hooking into accounts receivable, accounts payable systems. So it's at the very detailed level. In trading, you're talking about split-second trading, hedging, taking place with AI. So for every business, they have a whole list of things that they're trying to get done to do a better job for the client. Better is faster, cheaper, ancillary services that people want you give away for free. So it's a whole wide set of stuff.
I'm glad you're talking about security and security of our money at JPM. You just got back from China.
Yeah.
You said when you were up there on stage today, you're not afraid. Tell me what your observations were in China. And I mean, didn't they just do an enormous hack into our networks?
Yes. So cyber is a big deal. China cyber is a big deal. And we don't really know what our government does, by the way, but it's a big deal. And we spend a lot of money protecting us and our clients on cyber. What I mean by that, I'm not afraid of them, is that China, first of all, they're not afraid of us either. And going over there, you get the distinct impression that they are doing their thing. They're putting a lot of money into AI, cars, robotics. They're going to be 30 or 40% of new pharmaceuticals sometime shortly. They're going their way. But they have weaknesses. They still have a lot of poverty. They have a very tough neighborhood. A lot of their neighbors are rearming. They have to deal with us. We're still, the most prosperous economy on the planet. But my point, the thing I'm not afraid of them. I'm afraid that we don't get our own act together internally. If America just does our things right, deregulation, permitting, education, pro-business, grow the economy, help the lower income folks by growing the economy, fixing immigration, eventually allowing good immigration in, we'll be in great shape. We'll be the preeminent military and economy 30 or 40 years from now. If we're not, the world would be a very different world than what we live in today.
So what do you want to see? What should be done in terms of policy? You've been increasingly worried and talking about national security issues.
Yeah. Oh, so I say that there's like tectonic plate shifting. People looking, the world relied on the U.S. military umbrella. I think they should. You can easily say, people didn't spend enough money. We did too much of it. They relied on us too much. Or you can say we misused it sometimes. I think that's also true. But that is really important. If countries start looking elsewhere for their national security, that will become an issue. It's directly related to their economic security. So it's not just trade. Is who do you want to partner with? So we already have alliances with 100 different countries, economic alliances. 100 different countries, but also India. Who do you want to partner with? And that includes trade, it includes investment, development finance, and it includes educating them about the values of America, which we've stopped doing a little bit, values of freedom of speech, freedom of enterprise. It allows allowing good immigration here. People have pointed out that 40% of the new companies were immigrants who came here to be American. They didn't come here to change America. And so if we do those things right, and then the other long list is permitting, dereg, I call it the blue state, as you know, we'll be great. We just have to get our act together.
Well, you said something that struck me earlier. We should be stockpiling, what did you say?
I said not bitcoins, but bullets, tanks, missiles. Because you pointed out national security is a critical thing. So the most important thing to me in trade is going to be protecting our own national security. And that's around resilient supply chains for medical ingredients, for anything that goes into our F-35s, rare earths, and related. Think of 2 nanocentimeter AI chips, things like that. We say, yeah, this is important for American national security. We need resilient supply chains, and then we have to do things to help the military, which is we don't keep productive capability empty. So all of us do that in our businesses, but their missile capability, they have, I forgot the number, they have a plant building missiles, but if you have to double or triple production, we don't have a plant sitting there ready to go. And we need that. Right. And that should have been part of our planning. We don't allow enough flexibility for the military. The world's changed. And you see what's happening to these drones. What you need is very different this month than even 2 months ago. So they need more flexibility to buy this, not buy that. We need to spend more money. We need to do budgeting, do multi-year budgeting for them. And so we're going to lay this out. We have a thing called the Defense Action Forum. We spend a lot of time with some of the generals and some of the new tech companies in equipment, and then obviously the big prime contractors. What do we need to do to have the best military? What's changed? And we got to do it now. We don't really have the luxury to wait.
Well, so when President Trump is thinking about these trade deals that he's talking about, what you're saying is put limitations on certain groups. Like it's not, bullets are not the same as T-shirts.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and the other thing is it's unilateral. You don't have to negotiate. Certain things are just, this is the way America's going to do it. They've done that in a whole bunch of different things. This is the way we do it. There are other things which they should focus on too, which I say is unfair trade, where if you believe they're using their capital, their surplus, their economy, subsidies to dominate a global industry like cars or batteries, that's not unfair. On that one, of course you should deal with it in trade, but you also need to do with their allies. It's not nearly as effective to do it for yourself, and now we don't get any of that stuff here, but the allies are going to do it anyway. Right, so they can still dominate the global industry without us actually being part of it.
Jamie, as I wrap up here, what do you want to say about leadership? I mean, you were at the Investor Day the other day, and everyone was saying, "Oh, he's here for another 5 years." I mean, you're not going anywhere. It doesn't seem like. But why does everybody talk about soon you're going to have to retire?
It's several. I know it's several years away, and obviously it's always up to God and the board. We've got some great people. There will be an appropriate time, and then I may stick around for a couple of years. Up to God and the board as chairman or executive chairman, something like that. I love what I do. I love my country, and I don't know what I'd do if I wasn't fighting for something every day.
What do you want to say to a young person who wants to become the next Jamie Dimon? How do they do it?
It's work and learn. Read everything. Talk to everybody. Talk to every side. Don't become weaponized by one side or the other. Get out in the road. It's amazing. Get around the world because certain countries are doing some fabulous stuff. Earn your respect every day with a little bit of humanity and heart. people should want to trust you. They'll work for it. They want to trust you. So leadership isn't like just pounding people. It's, and you like if I came to Fox, and I was running Fox, I don't know what everyone in Fox does every day. I know what everyone does every day in JPMorgan. That's why I work hard. That's why I do my bus trips, and then say, we'll fix it for you. Whether the client tells me of a problem or the teller tells me of a problem, and have a little heart, humanity, treat everyone properly. Make sure you treat, from the security guards to the waiters to the CEO, treat them properly and enjoy your life, and enjoy the journey a little bit. And it's that journey is never straight. I mean, it's a rocky thing. So
I know you a long time, Jamie, and most people may not know this, but even you got fired once.
I did. And they introduced me, they never mentioned that, that I worked for 15 years for one guy, helped build Traveler. I'd been president, chief operating officer, merged it with Citi, and that obviously wasn't going to work out, and I got fired. And I was surprised, but eventually you dust off and you move on. And
then you came back and you crushed them in market share.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, final question here. Jamie, how do the markets feel to you right now?
Complacent. Prices are high, things are going okay. Prices are kind of working in a soft landing. I hope that's true. I just tell people, I think the odds of that are just lower than other people think, and that they're going to surprise. There's so many things moving out there, from deficits to geopolitics to trade. It's complex, and something can go wrong. And when things do, you usually get surprised. And I was taking my job, not guessing the future, being prepared to serve my clients regardless of the future. That's how I look at business.
Jamie, it's great to see you today.
Yeah, great. Enjoy it here. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Jamie Dimon.